I found out my ex was sleeping with his sister. Get ready with me, anonymous story time. You guys, I'm so shocked about the story time. One of the girlies actually sent me their story time via email and I'm so blown away. I, Jasmine, am currently 18 years old, but I was dating this guy. We're gonna give him the name Joshua. I was dating Joshua for about 5 years until we finally broke it off for the millionth time. Joshua and I were honestly that on and off couple. After Joshua and I broke up, I ended up meeting this new guy and him and I basically dated for about a couple of months. We're gonna call him Francisco. As I'm dating this new guy, he ended up telling me that he knows my ex. And at that time, I was not aware that Francisco and my ex knew each other. I do want to throw out there that my ex and Francisco, this new guy, do live in the same city. So I guess now it does make sense, the fact that they know each other. One day, my new man, Francisco, ended up telling me that they all ended up going out to drink. So it was basically my ex's sister, it was my current man, and my current man's brother, as well as my current man's sister-in-law. So anyways, tell me why Francisco, my man, ends up telling me that he's seen my ex, Joshua, and his sister making out. They are literally biological siblings, and you're telling me that you've seen them making out? Wow. When Francisco broke that news to me, I honestly didn't believe him, and I feel like that had a lot to do with how my ex was very manipulative towards me. So it was very difficult for me to believe this new guy. Like, what? There's absolutely no way that you've seen my ex making out with his sister. Francisco and I eventually ended up breaking up because he decided to move out of state. When Francisco ended up moving out of state, my ex, Joshua, and I ended up getting back together. I know, you guys, I know. I should have never went back with him, but whatever, we live and learn. During that relationship, he was very manipulative. He was a victim blamer, and honestly, it's safe to say that he was a narcissist. Joshua and I ended up breaking up 3 months before New Year's. My sister is actually dating one of Joshua's family members, and basically one day I got on a call with my sister and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law on the call basically confirmed that my ex and his sister indeed are sleeping together. Wow, such a fool of me to, not believe Francisco when he told me that he's seen my ex and his biological sister making out. That's so crazy and gross. Both Joshua and Francisco are out of the picture, but yeah, you guys, that is how I found out that my ex was sleeping with his biological sister. Anyways, you guys, that is the end of the story time.
Story time about how my crush threatened to have me beat up if I didn't leave him alone. Disclaimer is not my story time, as I mean on Instagram. Just started college and I made the biggest mistake of my life. Told one of my classmates who my crush was. This man told everyone behind my back. Later that night, we were celebrating our classmate's birthday. When I showed up, my crush was already there with a new girl. At this point, he and I had never really talked, but I did stare at him a lot. Suddenly, my crush walks over to me and grabs my arm really hard. Then he said, I quote, "You know I'm not attracted to you, right? You're never gonna have a chance with me." And that his girl was willing to beat me up if I didn't leave him alone. I was humiliated and mortified. Immediately left the party crying. How am I supposed to show up to class next week? Should I pretend like nothing happened? Why does he hate me?
My toxic boyfriend beat me up for throwing myself a birthday party, so I catfished him out of $20,000. He's extremely jealous, controlling, conniving, and vicious. We've only been dating for 6 months, but he's already proposed 3 times. And 3 times I've said no. My parents absolutely hate him, and my dad even grabs his shotgun every time he comes over. The reason I stay with him is because I'm extremely shy, and I don't ever think I'll find anyone who will love me for me. He's actually so toxic that even his best friend broke up with him. He started becoming abusive exactly 2 months ago. One of my best friends is getting married, and she's having a bachelorette party. I had been planning the party for almost 3 weeks and decided to hire a stripper. I honestly didn't think he would get upset, so I was honest with him and told him that I was hiring the stripper. But as soon as I did, he started calling me a slut and told me that I was the worst girlfriend in the entire world. Of course, I told him it had nothing to do with him and that it was only to make the party fun for my best friend who's getting married. He ended up breaking up with me, but I let it happen because I knew that I could go to the party peacefully and not worry about him being on my back. Hello, what's happening? The night of the bachelorette party was really fun, but he wouldn't stop calling me. I had over 50 missed calls by the end of the night. What a guy. I gave in and answered his phone call only to find that he was extremely drunk. When I got to my apartment, he was already there waiting for me. I'm getting nervous. He walked straight up to me, pushed me down onto the ground, and told me that I would never again misbehave this way. As he was yelling at me, my neighbor came out and told him to leave me alone. They threatened to call the cops, and he left. Thank God. He came around the next day apologizing and promised it would never happen again. And of course, I took him back. 2 days later, he got drunk again with his friend and slapped me for the first time ever. I was in such shock I couldn't say anything or even defend myself. That happens all the time. Again, he apologized and promised he would never do it again. And I took him back 3 days later, of course. At that point, my birthday was only 2 months away and my parents begged me to break up with him for my birthday. I got into a huge fight with my parents and told them that I was definitely going to invite him. I decided to plan myself another party, not with my parents. I wanted to do something really fun with just my friends. But when I told him I wanted to throw myself a party, he said that I was unhinged for wanting to get so much attention. Who's the unhinged one? I told him I didn't care what he thought and I was gonna throw myself my party. He grabbed me, shook me, and threw me against the wall. I hit my head so hard I passed out, and when I woke up I was in the hospital with my parents. You okay? When I came to, the doctor told me I had a broken rib and lip. Apparently, my boyfriend made up a story that we had both gotten into a car accident, so that explained all the injuries. Psycho much? But I knew this was the last straw. I couldn't take it anymore, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. As soon as I got home from the hospital, I made up an account on Instagram. He's got a thing for Asian girls, so I went ahead and made an Asian profile. I messaged him on Instagram and told him that I had an OF and that he should sign up. I couldn't believe how stupid he was to fall for it the very same day. I asked him to send me a picture of his credit card, and he did. Serves him right. Went on to 10 different websites and ordered as much as I could within minutes. By the way, he's got terrible credit, so I knew this would affect him. And because he never checks his bank account, he didn't notice it for 2 months. I did get a restraining order, but we ended up getting back together because he came begging on his hands and knees at my parents' house. He's on a very short leash, and I'm hoping things start to change. I know you guys are gonna eat me up in the comments, but you have to understand that I still love this guy.
I met my boyfriend's mom 4 days ago. I don't know if I'm overreacting breaking up with him because of how she acted during dinner. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years long distance. We met while we were both on vacation. In that time, I have met his family, but only through Zoom. We couldn't meet in person due to the intensive degree program I was doing. So in the last 2 years, my boyfriend has been traveling to see me every 2 months. Now that I'm done with my program, I can pretty much work anywhere. And since I work from home, I thought I would move into my own place in the city my boyfriend lives in and continue to explore our relationship. I went to look at apartments and then went to meet his family in person for the first time and have dinner. Everything was going well. I met his parents, his brothers, and their spouses. His mom was very pleasant until dinner started. His oldest brother's wife had made an appetizer and served it. It was really good, but their mom put the appetizer in her mouth, made a noise, and then made it seem like she had to force herself to swallow it. She said something like, "That's a different taste," and made a disgusted face. There was nothing wrong with the appetizer. She then went to the kitchen and came out with the same appetizer and said, "It's good I made the same one just in case." Oh my god, she's a monster-in-law. I expected the daughter-in-law to say something, but she just kept quiet. No one said a word, and the conversations continued like it was normal. The mom with the daughter-in-law and the other spouses then helped take away our plates that still had the first appetizer on them, served hers on new plates, and told us all to eat. It was the same appetizer. There was no difference. In fact, I preferred the daughter-in-law's because hers had more vanilla. I was astounded that she did this. Dinner continued and it was all made by the mom. She kept asking how the food was and made passive-aggressive comments about certain dishes that were made before by the other daughter-in-laws. I didn't ask anything because I was shocked, but after we left dinner, I asked my boyfriend what happened. He said his mom is really passionate about her cooking and doesn't like anyone to outdo her. I said, "So does this happen at every family dinner?" And he said yes. His mom tries to outdo them. He said his brother's wives don't take it personally because they know how she is and that it's really coming from a place of love. I'm sorry, but what I saw is not from a place of love, and the daughter-in-law seemed like she was going to cry. My boyfriend finally said she's just territorial about her cooking, and other than that, she's very normal. I finally asked him when did this behavior start, and he said when his eldest brother first brought a serious girlfriend home. His eldest brother is 8 years older than him, so I asked from the time they were dating up till now, did all of your brother's partners go through this? And he said yes. I said, "Do you think your mom's behavior is bad?" And he got a little offended and said, "No, I just think she's passionate about making good food." I've been thinking on it, replaying the dinner and comments over and over in my head, and there's no way I can sign myself up for this kind of life. My boyfriend and I are starting to talk about marriage and the future and kids, and I'm very nervous now. His brother's wives have endured abuse over their cooking since the start of their relationship with their spouse's mother, and no one says a thing. Not them, not their husbands, not his dad, and not my boyfriend. How can I sign my up for this level of insult every time there's a family dinner? If my boyfriend and I reach that stage, can I never cook anything? Will she always try to upset me? Will she make comments about my cooking? I don't know if I can set myself up to walk into a toxic family situation like this. I would rather leave. I honestly am really considering breaking up with him because of this.